In the span of 9 seconds, he called him Unc, and then he said, "You remind me of my dad."
No, I'm 20 years older than him. I just look remarkably young. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy though? Like you were somewhere, and like one of our coaches thought you were my dad. Actually, so like,
Was that a
To be fair,
it was just in the lobby, and they were like, "What's your dad doing here?" And I looked, I said, "That's Bomani, man."
Stavvy, Trey, bro, fellas, we've all convened here. Stav, I think we'll start with you.
Okay.
Based off this previous conversation. What's the worst purchase you've ever made?
Ooh, the worst purchase I've ever made. That's a great. I mean, I own some of the worst real estate in Baltimore. I bought an incredibly shitty house off podcast money. I bought a house a block away from where I grew up, and it has like depreciated in value. It's like it's gotten so much shittier. I basically just bought a house for my family to live in, but that's the level. I haven't taken my family out of the hood. I've moved them to a different block of the hood. Like we're just in a different, literally behind the house I grew up in. And so that's the biggest one I've made, and it is the worst one, and I'm trying to get rid of it. But now my dad is living in, my brother's living in there, and now my dad's living there. So, other than that, I don't know, man. I have the tracksuit and Hawaiian budget is out of control. If you saw the amount.
But I feel like that's good. That's on brand.
I just have to keep myself clothed, Tom. You know what I
What
mean?
about you?
I don't know if it's because I haven't had enough money or maybe I'm just not enough fun. I've been trying to think of a bad purchase that I've made.
I feel like you're good with this.
Hey, man, I've lost many jobs many times. You know what I'm saying? I always feel like right around the corner could be that situation. I've been really sitting here trying to think. I certainly have made a bad purchase at some point. Like, I may have paid too much for a quarter once, like that, you know how that feels.
Yeah,
like,
course.
no way this costs $120.
I got finessed for a really shitty fake ID in college. A guy, I paid like, $200 when I did not have, that was like all the money I had from selling weed in high school. I saved it up to be able to be, to be cool in college. Didn't work at all. And then the guy, and I just got pressured into the guy. He's like, come on, it looks just like you. The guy was like 28, looked nothing like me. You know what I mean? It was like, and I never tried to even, that's how ashamed I was of getting like scammed by this guy that I just like bought it because I wanted him to like me in the moment. And then I didn't even attempt to use it to get beer. I just had like a shitty guy's license.
I did buy finger quotes Movado when I was in college walking through Lenox in Atlanta, and he did a great sale job. And I was like, $50, huh? Right? And I was so excited when I came back to the dorm about getting that $50 Movado, and I'm looking up, and I see one dude, he's older, and I could tell, started looking in his eye that he just didn't want to crush me. But he was just like, look at this motherfucker here. I still got that Movado. It's at my parents' house
Did they ever get you on any of the phone scams or anything?
Like which
when they call you and they say like, not like this shit like my fucking, I'm in Kenya and send me like $100,000, but something where they say like your account has been hacked, put your information.
Yeah, no, they ain't get me on that one.
You can't. I just know that was never true. I never had any money until like 5 years ago. There was no way to tell me that you took my money because I had none of it.
Yeah,
I did the bootleg shit. I bought a bootleg Gucci backpack when I came here when I was like 18. I was like, dude, I'm fucking awesome.
No. I've bought some incredible Canal Street used to have the watches, man.
So many
times. They wasn't real. But I kind of feel like wrestlers do. When you say wrestling ain't real, they're like, how you gonna tell me it's not real? I fell on the ground. Right? That's the kind of same way I feel about that watch. It's right here. How you gonna tell me it's not real? Touch it. Can you feel it?
It sounds like you didn't get got by that Movado. It sounds like that's what you wanted.
No. I got by the Movado. I truly believe that I purchased a Movado. I was 17 or 18. The Canal Street watches were an understanding. Sometimes you got to know craftsmanship when you see it, right?
Yeah, it is impressive.
It was craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Have you done Canal Street here?
Why the fuck would he do that?
When I was
But Trey's experience is different because by the time Trey spent time in New York, you were rich.
Yeah.
No, I spent a lot of time. Well, not a lot of time, but I spent some time when I was like 7 and 8. Like I came up here for the Color Purple. My mom took me to go see
Hell
that.
yeah, dude.
And I went to the Subway Series at the old Yankee Stadium.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was a cool series.
I mean, the coolest part was I got a kiss on the cheek from Fantasia after the
Damn.
So like,
How'd you pull that off?
hey man, it's just been like that from a young age.
When you got it, you got it.
That's awesome,
Some
dude.
people born with it, some people not. That's all.
He was 5'11" at the time.
that's what I was about
he
to
was
say.
7 years old.
Fantasia
taller
just
than I am
found out
now.
that he was 9 years old.
Yeah. They had the same reading level. They were going over the same books.
Oh, you didn't have to do that. I didn't know those jokes had crossed the aisle.
Look, I left the first. I took a beat. If the conversation was going to move on, I wasn't going to do it. You gave me another shot at it.
This is the problem with social media. They used to be our jokes. Now I'm stuck in this uncomfortable situation. Like there's nothing wrong with this joke this man has told. It's on the table. But why you couldn't tell it? Why
I claimed it off waivers.
Yeah,
I let it pass one time. No one took it, and then I did it.
That's exactly what he did.
I can't step into that lane. He can step into
That's true. That's true.
Yo, have you not? I'm sure there's many examples of this. Have you had a joke on this most recent tour or in the last year that you actually felt bad about after the fact?
Not really. There was one time where I thought somebody making noise. I thought it was like, somebody was being really annoying. It was in Denver. And they kept making like a weird noise on this side of the thing. And I kept looking at it. And it was like, I don't roast people unless they're being annoying. Like, especially if you're like some comedians, I think it is fucked up if someone's really fucked up looking to just immediately go after them. Because that motherfucker's just trying to have a nice time, dude. Yeah. You don't have to like,
and they know.
He knows, right?
Yeah.
He's probably so nervous, you know what I mean? And so, somebody kept making noise, whatever. And it was just like an unfortunate looking woman, let's say, that was doing this. And I look over and it's literally like 8 times. And I just like, destroy her. And then she's like, I see her face like drop. She's like, I wasn't saying anything. And it was some guy behind her was on mushrooms and he was just fucking tripping. And I just crushed this poor lady who was just trying to have a nice time. Let's actually bleep out the city. There's no way she finds it again, but I don't want her to like have she's forgotten it and it just like comes up again. But it was the worst I've ever felt in my life because I really let her have it.
Let's start with the fact that you thought that unfortunate was a euphemism. Yeah. That unfortunate somehow softened.
It's better than busted.
No. It's the exact same, brother. It is the exact same.
But that was the worst I felt for sure.
I can't lie though. Like I used to be that guy back in middle school. Like, if I'm in a roast session and I see somebody else laughing.
Of course.
You have to go for them now.
You do,
Especially if you're losing.
Of course.
I kind of have to direct attention over to that person now.
Middle school rules are it's ruthless, absolutely.
That's the joke.
But this is a paying customer that I've just alienated. You know what I mean? Like
it's over.
Like, have you ever been in a spot where like you feel like you're not doing great, and then you're like, all right, I gotta find something.
Oh, dude.
So then you just
when you're bombing
him,
and you're like, I mean that's the classic. Make fun of somebody, says you. The classic hack thing is point to be like, that guy's got a tight ass shirt, and then it's like we're off to the races. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, like just calling somebody,
But has your philosophy changed on it since like now he's fucking big time and he's doing Radio City and Beacon and fucking MetLife soon, all this shit.
Yeah.
You're fucking
Beacon is the only one you got right, by the way. I haven't done the other ones.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
SoFi, but like when you're doing these big things versus like you're doing the Stand or you're doing some like 25 person room where it's like you're basically on the same level as the people in the audience versus like if you're doing the Beacon and you're roasting some like lady at the Beacon, like you're a dick. You're punching down. Like your name is on the thing out front.
But roasting is also like I do crowd work, sure, but it's like I don't really go after someone unless they're being a dickhead. Like I do think sometimes that could be cheap, and it's also like it's fun when it's like amongst your friends to like bust each other's balls, but it's like when someone hasn't said shit and they just you just like find it is kind of cheap and easy to do, and it's reserved for when you're bombing. When you're like, all right, my dignity, I've been stripped of my dignity. Time to take it from someone else to survive. That's sort of the only way you can go about it. But
I went to college with this dude from Minneapolis. And this is in the year of our Lord, 1997. And It sounds like an exaggeration, but it's the truth. He looked just like Biggie Smalls.
Oh, wow.
Right? Like a ghost was walking around campus. Again, this is 1997.
Yeah.
Very fresh.
That's weird.
This is a fresh thing, right?
Yeah.
And so this cat named Tone had put together these comedy shows. This is Atlanta in 97. So everybody that's got a dream has figured out how to get to Atlanta, go to school, and pull this off. And so he was booking these comedy shows on campus. And we saw a lot of dudes, like, looking back on it. Like, I know Donnell Rawlings. We saw him. JB Smooth was the cat.
Yeah.
So, like, some people who really became legit dudes were pulling up for this. And there's one dude who I don't remember, and I don't think he ever turned in anything. He was bombing. Right?
Yeah.
And a black college is not a place to bomb. We boo, right? Like the first dude at the first show, all they said introing him was, he is one of your fellow students at Clark Atlanta. Boo! Right? Like we was on it immediately. That's how it goes. So this dude's bombing, and somehow he winds up in the crowd. And this is like, kind of Def Jam era. So he's getting loud to try to cover up for it. And something happened. He dropped the microphone. And the person who was sitting there picked up the microphone, handed it to him, and the dude looked up, and who did he see directly in front of him but the ghost of Biggie Smalls? And as soon as he saw him, his eyes lit up like, I am saved.
Yeah.
Trey took the microphone back out of his hand and was like, no. He then took it back. Yo, it's Biggie Smalls' brother Larry. The problem is we've been going to school with Biggie for months now. This isn't funny to us anymore. We've done this, but I remember the look in his eye like, I think I've got my way out of this.
Salvation. And it didn't work for him, huh?
Didn't work.
You just gotta eat it, man. You gotta eat it.
Do you feel like it's different than being on stage? It's different than like a singular sort of night. But like you probably have the experience where like some person will just talk shit to you online.
Yes.
And you just have to make the calculation of odds are you're smarter than them. Odds are you know more about whatever the subject is than them. It's like, do I go in on this person or do I just be like, it's not worth it?
Well, for many years, this was never a question. The answer was always attack. I was relentless. I was Michael Jordan on that. Like you always got it. I got hooping shorts on right now. You have to be ready for this.
Ready to go.
Let's go. And like at all times, like this is gonna be a long day at the office for you, and you know it. And I was really good at it on Twitter. I could do all these conversations at one time. And then it reached a point where I realized, A, I stopped having I couldn't tell who was actual people anymore.
Yeah.
But B, I kind of stopped being a man of the people. Like when you start off early, it's like we talk about with small rooms. We're all kind of the same, but you can't keep kicking it like that because as much as people want to act like you're the same, you aren't. In the transaction we're talking about here, there's a hierarchy and you're not that person anymore. And so I just kind of like retired off of it. Now I'm old. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's a young man's sport.
You know?
Yeah.
He walked in.
That's sorry,
he
bro.
called him in the span of 9 seconds. He called him Unc, and then he said, "You remind me of my dad."
I'm 20 years older than him. I just look remarkably young. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy though? Like you were somewhere, and like one of our coaches thought you were my dad. Actually, so like,
was that a
to be fair,
it was just in the lobby, and they were like, "What's your dad doing here?" And I looked. I said, "That's Bomani, man."
No, this is so, like when did this happen? That's the whole thing for me. Is like when did this happen?
Yeah. 3 years ago. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It was somewhere along the way, bruh. Like I did, last week of Around the Horn, I did that show. I looked up. I was so much older than everybody else that was a panelist. Like, when did this happen?
Yeah. Life, it's just all, you can never go back, bro. It's just, it's everything. The world you remember is gone, and you have to keep marching forward.
But this is
we're all
my only
constantly
thing about it.
deteriorating.
I'm cool with leaning into the being older thing, right? Yeah. Like, I put in the work, right? Yeah. My problem is don't nobody call you sir no more, right? No. Like I think ain't no benefits to this. Ain't nobody giving up their seat for me on the train. All I'm getting is reminders that I'm older, but there ain't no payoff to this.
They're coming soon. There's a car that's actually about to
Give it 9 years.
That's all I'm saying. When do I get the good stuff?
When you have a Bluetooth and a Kangol on, that's when you get
Wow,
hey, man.
Really a comedian.
Yeah, maybe I need to lean into it, baby.
Wow.
But I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, he grew up in Baltimore for sure.
Yeah. Some long linen shorts and leather sandals. That's what you need. Yeah.
Yes, this is like a Danny McBride show. There's an exposure to the culture.
When it's all Stacey Adams, everything.
We grew up in Baltimore, bro. We get it. We grew up in Baltimore, bro. We get it, man.
Is there ever a time when Unk is not insulting?
It's not. I don't think.
No,
I mean,
because
it's not.
It doesn't insult.
No,
I mean, I'm not saying insulting like you're like, yo, fuck you, but like where like you're never gonna be like. I feel like no one is ever gonna like say Unk in a way that is like
Palatable
you're not
to
gonna
the
feel
receiver.
that. Like I think about this with we did an ep with Caruso, and Caruso's like 31 or something.
Yeah.
And he was saying, and Dub, it was Caruso and Dub, and he was saying that all those guys in that team, because they're so young, all call him like Unk
That's
and like
hysterical.
Pops and like shit like that. And they're like not even trying to offend him. I mean, they kind of are a little bit, but like they're not really trying to offend him. But he's basically just like
it's the hair for him.
it's the hair, but it's also
hair,
but it's also like it's like a small dig, but you get in your feelings. Like, is there any time where you could say it and you don't get in your feelings about it?
I mean, if they're actually an uncle, maybe so. Or but like,
True.
I mean, I say to CJ, and he don't really get too offended, but like, he's 33. Like,
Wow, I'm
in
11
basketball,
years older than him.
in basketball terms, like he's getting up there. But I also like here's the thing though, I'll call him Unk, and I say this like on a podcast, but I also tell him and tell everybody else I've learned the most from him.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why he's Unk.
See, that's what we need out of it, right? Like, you know, like you're giving him some of the spoils.
Absolutely. No, for sure. I'm not just gonna keep being like, yeah, you old, because then it's like, damn, like, don't do that.
Then y'all got to fight at some point.
Exactly.
You know, like, look, I'm gonna tell you this one time.
And CJ hard foul. He has a hard foul like compilation on YouTube. So like, you got it, CJ. Like, you got it, bro.
Did you ever talk shit to somebody and immediately regret it?
No, not that I mean, when in basketball,
Yeah.
no.
Like, not even in Durham, nowhere.
Now outside of basketball, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely
Last night,
I definitely
little-
overstepped, and then I was like, one of his moments probably, where you're like, I shouldn't have did that one. Yeah,
that's a
shouldn't have did
tough
that one. It's a tough one, but you know, it is what it is. It comes with being a expressive person, somebody that says what they think.
You learn your lesson. You find the line, and then you're like, all right, I'm going to stay below this from now on.
And you hope whoever
try
it is
to.
that I've been here likes you enough to kindly inform you that, like, gone a little bit too far. Like, I overdraft notice. Like, if you put the money back in the account by 5 o'clock, no fees, no harm, but you took more out of here than you had.
If you could change one thing about the internet, what do you think it would be?
One thing about the internet, it would be nice if people had to just be themselves. Like, we have to all put ourselves out there in a way where it's like, it'd be nice if whoever is talking shit to you, you could see, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, man. Like, your life sucks. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many, like, burners and, like, fake accounts where it's like, that's what stopped me from, like, that earlier question about, like, do you go after people? It's like, not really, because it's like, most of the time, if the guy in person said it to you, who's actually saying it to you over the internet, you'd be like, dude, I get it, man. I was an incel in my youth.
Yeah,
I know how tough it is.
I would hate me too.
I know how tough it is to not get pussy in your 20s, man. Life is tough. I've been there. No worries, bro. Like, that's how I would feel. I'd love to be able to see who's actually talking shit. I think it would humanize everyone, because you just think of some, that's a main one. And at first that was scary, because before we understood the internet, before the whole world was the internet, it's like, I don't want my personal information there, but it's like, dude, everyone's got our fucking information at this point. Who even gives a fuck? Like,
I think some of that is just also like, don't read the comments, because like the people who comment are probably predisposed to like have something to say.
Yeah.
Well, the internet is now where people go to be unhappy. Like, I always talk about, like, I felt like I built a lot of my stuff through the internet. And it's like, what happens if you have this spot that used to be the clubhouse, and then you look up one day and you realize it's now a crack house.
Yeah.
Right? This motherfucker's laying around, piped up in the back.
Yeah.
Like, you got like an economy of theft that goes on right outside. Like, it done turned into a rock house. And you're like, yo, I was just here a couple days ago and it was a thriving clubhouse. But now everybody in here smokes
Where's the
crack.
foosball table?
Yeah, right.
We were having a good time.
Sold that, right? Like, all that stuff got moved for parts. And so I think the internet needs to be a little slower.
Yeah. Turn it off.
Yeah, but if they
every
made
once
it,
in a while.
if they made it such that we could send somebody a message on the internet
I know.
You had, like, after an hour, they would hit you back and be like, hey, before we put this up,
Yeah.
are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
Everything would, like, kind of chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
You think what percentage of that you think is also COVID fucking everyone up?
It
Being
did
home,
not help.
Being home for like a year.
It did. I ain't gonna lie, man. I enjoyed it. Not everybody else apparently was built for that.
Hey, Twitter during COVID was the funniest thing ever.
Do you remember Clubhouse?
Yes, that week that was cracking.
Bro, Clubhouse, there was like a 3-week stretch where everybody was sitting on
totally
Clubhouse,
forgot
and then it
about
went
that app.
completely away.
Yeah. People were like moaning on it and shit.
Yo, no, the thing about Clubhouse, though, what was so funny
It got weird fast, bro.
what was so funny about Clubhouse is one night they did a rendition of the Broadway production of The Lion King. They had like all the actors and they figured out the tech and they were in. I listened to it. It was riveting. And then I realized what we were doing. It was 1938. And we're listening to the radio. We're listening to a show on the radio right now. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to last at all. This is actually antiquated technology.
You understand, you're not helping your aunt case every time you bring up something.
My thought as I said that was, Trey's a good dude. He'll let that slide.
The problem is he just hears it. He just waited. He's sitting here waiting.
I'm gonna let you finish what you're saying.
I'm not saying that I enjoyed it because it was the radio. I'm just demonstrating the knowledge of history.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, I thought you were saying you were enjoying it in 1938.
Yeah, man. It's cool.
In partnership with DraftKings, the NBA Finals are almost here and every second counts. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, you're not just watching history, you're betting on it. This is playoff betting at its finest. Player props, game lines, live bets. Now is your shot to get in on the action. Richie, I was looking at the series markets for these two 3-1 series on DraftKings earlier today. OKC, Minnesota game, we're taping this Wednesday, game is tonight. OKC minus 4,000 to win the series, Minnesota plus 1,700. Knicks, Pacers tomorrow, Indy minus 600, Knicks plus 450. Very, very interesting. We will hit some of that in today's episode. New to DraftKings, bet just $5, and if your bet hits, you'll cash in with $300 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code YOUNGMAN. That's code YOUNGMAN for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
What would you, if you could change one thing about media, what would it be?
I would make it harder to get a podcast. I would make it harder.
I would.
I don't think they're reading my mind.
I don't think
like raise the price on these.
No, that's really, it's just the barriers to entry are way too low at this point. Like, no one even cares if, I think the part that's hard for me is it doesn't feel like the people who make decisions care if you're good.
Oh, yeah. It is fun. Absolutely. Because that is the funny thing. As much as we like to shit on the barriers for entry, that actually is better than what we have now, which is there's a weird thing where they're trying to turn podcasting into just shitty TV. They're just giving like every famous person now, like they're making it Emmy or whatever, like eligible or Grammy eligible or some shit. It's like, some of them are good. Conan O'Brien obviously has a great podcast, but it's like every celebrity now is getting a podcast. I actually really commend you, Tommy, for when the famous person left this podcast, you were like, we're still doing it. It doesn't matter.
Well,
you know what I mean?
didn't really have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, you know that show Gotham where it's Batman without Batman? We're doing that, but the podcast version. Yeah, Tommy's marching on. I salute you for that.
Keep the train on the tracks.
But Tommy's like, I have a down payment. We signed a year lease.
Slowly chugging along.
But you get on a very important point, and it's hard to explain this to people. And look, I may be saying this with a personal lack of self-awareness. This may apply to me. Yeah, you get to make the decision on that. But I think the internet also has led to a place where many people overestimate how truly interesting they are.
Sure.
So let's say, and I think these numbers, we lose sight of these numbers, but like, let's say you're on the internet and you got 300 followers. In theory, that's 300 people who care about what you have to say. Prior to the internet, would you have thought, regular person, that there were 300 people who care what you have to say? Of course not. Next thing you know, everybody acts like there's somebody because they got an audience that they have to serve, right? And so you extend that all the way out, and everybody's like, look, we'll give you a podcast, and we'll see if it works. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe we get some viral clips. But there aren't that many people that are just interesting enough to listen talk.
You know what's interesting? I do think this is generational. I'm actually interested, like, how do, like, people your age look at it? Because it's like, I think, like, you motherfuckers just grew up on the internet, right? Like, it's always been, and maybe we're talking a little younger than you, maybe even, I think now, like, if you talk about kids in college now, it's like, they haven't even, I don't even think they would think of it that way, Bomani, where it's like we think of it as like, oh, it's an audience. I think they're just like, well, I just know these people. You know what I mean? It's like, people exist on the internet. Right. And it is this weird thing where they do perform for them in a weird way, but it's like they don't look at it. That's just how they live their lives.
They're
and
native.
it is weird because it's like, I feel like kids have, they become like they have little PR machines for themselves. They're their own like PR person where it's like babies pose for, my friend had a kid and you know, it's fun hanging out with the kid, whatever. It's awesome. My best friend, it was like the first kid in like our age group. And this little guy just like, he's like in a bad mood. Somebody pulls out a phone. He goes, he just like smiles.
So wild.
And it's like, what that fuck? I was like, oh, we're so cooked. Like if babies are doing that shit, there's no stopping it. And I thought the same shit with AI where I was like, oh, this is bullshit. But it's like everyone, it sucks, but everybody's using it. It's like all the same regurgitated shit over and over again. So I don't know. I think like, I don't know. You probably like, you just grew up with the internet, right? Like it was just like you remember like, you know.
To an extent. My parents, they tried to like keep me away from it as much. No, they did actually. My parents are strict. Whatever they said went. That was nothing about that. But I didn't get my first phone till like 7th grade.
Oh wow.
So like there was a lot of kids that had phones in like 4th or 5th grade and stuff like that. But now like these iPad kids, they're in preschool with iPads, like watching TV. And like that's what each parent does, is just take an iPad in front of a kid's face. So they don't have to do any parenting. So
yeah, I've been reading a lot of books about this stuff lately, like real doom and gloom, different things, like how our brains get reshaped. And it made the most interesting point that it made about a couple things about the internet. One, I forget which book this was, but it made the point that online used to be a place you had to go, right? Like you can go back to the dial-up 14.4 or the 28.8, you know, but you had to go on the internet. You had to sit down, you had to press some buttons, made all them noises, and then when you were done, you hit the button and you got off the internet. And even when you have high speed, you went to the computer and you got on the internet. Then Wi-Fi comes and you start creeping the laptop in, but then you get to the smartphone. And now you don't go online. You're online all the time. The internet is in your pocket at all times. And so it has adjusted us to a point where we now behave in public like we're on the internet at all times because the internet is just always there. The other point that I read that I thought was very interesting was that with the internet, all it did in terms of our ability to communicate with each other, it allowed us to send more messages faster. But it didn't make it easier for us to come up with stuff or anything like that. It just allowed us to say more shit. You used to have to be way more thoughtful about what you were saying because, hey, you wrote this out, you put a stamp on it, it's going to take days, you had to go through all this. Nah, man, now you can just, all it did was we are bombarded all the time. Like every day we are standing in the middle of a freeway and cars are just coming this way.
Yeah.
All the time. Like we are fucked, man. Because you can't dial it back. Like once a technological advance happens, you can't get people to be like, hey, you know, this is actually kind of bad. Like tell people, you know, the cars are destroying the environment. Well, shit, the environment better toughen up.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
How do you feel like, I was thinking about this in like these playoff series a little bit, where like if you go online, and some of this is like specific to Twitter, with like all these like muse accounts, like the hater muse and every team is fucking.
Sure.
It'll be like you saw this after the Knicks go down 2-0. The Knicks who just beat Boston. Literally, there was a riot in the street because they just beat Boston. They lose on a freaky game one, and then they lose in a good game two, where they played well. The Pacers like played a little better. And you go online, and the shit that people are saying is like, it is like everyone is getting trolled. It's fuck everyone. Like, you just got to ignore it, right? You just got to like literally like just take your phone and throw it in the ocean until this is done, because I feel like if you consume it, there's no possible way that is going to like make you perform at your craft better.
I would say for me, like, I don't have a problem with it because, like I said, like I get fueled by hate. But also too, though, on the flip side of that is like game days for me, like I just don't open Twitter like at all. Yeah. Like I just won't even look at that because just like I don't want to see any betting stuff. I don't want to see any I just don't want to even like think about that type of stuff. Where it just makes it easier for me to just focus on the game. Like obviously, like I can read it and not really care or give a damn because, like I said, more than likely whoever is behind that profile, I'm not gonna say more than likely, they're not beating me in basketball. So I don't really give a damn if they say I suck. So it's like you not doing shit with me in basketball. So like it doesn't really matter.
You know what? You worry about it stacking up though, because I am very much a I don't care, like say whatever you want type. But I will say, as the years have gone on, I don't care. But it is more exhausting than it used to be. It's just kind of like, damn, again? You know what I mean? It's like, you haven't hurt my feelings, but I'm just kind of like, damn, this is really what life is, you know?
Yeah, but I think that's just it. Like what you said, Tommy, it's like you knew when game one ended or whatever, game two, like you knew that you knew what to expect. It was going to be extreme. It was going to be like fire Tibbs, Jalen Brunson. Like you knew people were going to overdo it. And you just, to the point where I don't think it stacks up. It's almost like it's so much of it that it becomes meaningless because it's like, you know exactly the jokes. Like that's one thing that kind of sucks is that it's not creative. One person makes a good joke, and then it just becomes like everybody photocopies the same fucking meme over and over again.
But I think that requires an awareness that most people don't possess, or that most people possess in earnest when talking about other people. You know,
True,
I think after a while, for a lot of people, it's just kind of, all right, man. You know, okay. No, especially since positive, because the internet also used to be a great place for positive reinforcement. And you could like feed your tribe or whatever, and they throw you back love or whatever. Nobody goes to the internet to be happy anymore. Right? Everybody goes to be mad.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that like I would say, well, there's a couple things. The first thing is like on the joke front. Some of this is also like AI and Grok and all that shit, where it's like whoever.
Don't get me started on AI.
Yeah, but like someone had the joke however many years ago of like, okay, someone has a bad game, you put them in like the Bin Laden fucking thing, which was like, by the way, like at points like the Photoshops can be funny, but it does become like run into the ground at a certain point where you're like, I've already seen this 25 times. It probably
like learn Chinese memes immediately. Like it just is the same shit over and over again.
I mean, you know what it's like. Well, you're gonna see somebody that looks like another player dancing. They're like, we need the most that it's gonna be learn Chinese, it's gonna be AI, it's gonna be some old picture of you like working somewhere. It's like you're ready to cook up the fryers. Like we know the content now.
Stop. Let me ask you this, because this is my thought that what the internet provides, and you do this for a living, so I'm curious what you think about this. I think what the internet provided for a lot of people is you can get that feeling of making everybody laugh, which is really intoxicating. But when you drop a clunker, it kind of just goes away. Unless you're like a certain type of famous person that is known for telling bad jokes. But that leads everybody to just throw anything against the wall because it could be your day to be the one that makes the class laugh. Everybody wants to be the funny person.
That's
everybody. It's open mic for everybody, except the crowd only hears you when you're good.
Yeah. That is interesting. I think it was probably more true of Twitter maybe like, 5, maybe even longer, 8 years ago, like where it was a thriving place for jokes. Now it's like the work. I mean, it sucks.
Right.
It's
now they're just trying to keep you on there. Right? That's another internet.
It's all like racist or porn.
Yes.
Or snuff films. Or people getting killed.
Feed is for you.
It's all like fat guys getting pegged. I don't know what that's about.
You talk about
I mean, right, guys? It's pretty fucked up what they're doing on Twitter.
But when you talk about the thing that changed on the internet, when they started not giving you the people you follow, just give you more stuff because you run out of things. Yeah. No. We'll just keep giving you more. Like, to think, even if you don't want all that stuff, right? But I know I can go in my pocket and turn on Twitter and there's gonna be some big booty girl that's on here. There's gonna be they got something that's
and that is effective, I will say.
If you just scroll long enough, don't you worry, something will be there. And then when that something isn't there, well, it's got to be here somewhere. And then you just keep going, and now we hear.
No,
forever.
It's pathetic. When I try and I'll be trying to find my friend's Instagram, and I'll just like put the search, and the search is the For You, and it's just always huge tits, and I just forget what I'm gonna do. That happens to me, and every time, like, I can't believe that happened to me, and it happens every time.
Yo,
like, it has happened to me every
I feel like
time.
nobody knows me like the Instagram algorithm. They know things I haven't told people about.
Yeah,
like things. It's not like I'm searching for it or anything else, but their ability to figure out what I'm into.
Yeah,
right. Like exactly her.
Oh yeah,
yes,
I mean, this
like
is immediately. Was I lying, dude? This is the further on. It's all tits, bro. They know how to get. I'm a simple man. What can I say?
I did this. You can do this with just about anybody, though. Like I took IG off my phone. Talk to anybody. Be like, let me see your For You page. Yeah, and it's going to tell you what you need to know.
It's like the occasional like ribeye. It's like this and like a wood-fired steak. That's it.
But the other thing that happens with that though, like when Cambridge Analytica was a thing, one of the things they were saying about it was they were able to predict like if people they were able to predict people who were gay who had not come out.
Oh wow!
Right, like that's
how though.
Via your internet behavior, like what you liked, what you didn't, Like they had these different indicators. For example, the clearest indicator of male heterosexuality was being a fan of the Wu. The Wu-Tang Clan was, was the straightest music in the world. Yeah. Don't ask me how, but it was the Wu. But there's
I guess I don't have none of my gay friends like Wu-Tang. I guess you're right.
But it's very specific. It's very specific.
But there's somebody who looked on his For You page like, why you think that's for me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Not you just have to be
I know what you mean. Yeah. No, it is weird that they do shit like that, or like, I mean, that's the scary shit. Like, we can all talk about how annoying it. Like, ultimately, who gives a fuck? Like, our lives are pretty easy compared to most people. So it's like if we get if annoying people, make a comment, who cares? The scary shit is like they have ways of. They know, like I saw something where it was like, they know when a teen girl deletes a selfie and she's insecure about her image, when Facebook would see that, they would then advertise beauty products to them. And like, that's the fucked up shit where it's like, they're preying on the real insecurities. Like our stuff is whatever, we can joke about it, but it's like, that is the scare. That's when I'm like, all right, man, we're already in Terminator. Let's just fucking take some bazookas to the Ethernet cables.
Do you use a sleep tracker?
I got the Fitbit, bro. I got it in my 20K.
So like I use the sleep tracker. It's interesting information.
Yeah.
Hey man, them people know when you going through it. They know when you're not sleeping right. They know like those sorts of things. Women who put in their cycles.
Yeah.
They know you in a really, because it seems like, hey, I don't think any of us conceived of when all this stuff came up. It was just like, oh, they're giving this stuff away for free. What's the worst that could happen? And none of us, we didn't do the math on what they were actually doing. They know us real good, dog. I had one of the Roombas for a minute, and I was like, man, I can't just let y'all up in my crib like this.
I don't want Google knowing what kind of crumbs I have.
Yeah.
I don't need them knowing how many Cheetos I consume.
What the fuck? I'm about to say Cheetos.
Sorry, dude.
I'll be the algo. That's when we're gonna start calling you the algo. You knew where it was going.
Say Cheetos,
Sorry,
bro.
dog.
I swear, bro. This is actually getting insane, bro. Like, that's the third time.
What's changed the most about the NBA since you stopped doing your show? He used to do a basketball podcast.
Yeah,
This is before he got famous. This is before the big
I was just doing it for fun. I do my boy Sam Morrell, who I'm actually going to go to his place. Yeah, that's my guy, dude. We did a show called Pod Don't Lie, and it was just like it was just me and him. And he grew up in Manhattan, and I've been a Knicks fan. I've liked the Knicks. I moved here 10 years ago, and Baltimore didn't have a team, so like we had kind of like different fan perspectives, and it was awesome. I think what's changed for me and the hardest thing. And like I wonder what your take is on it, but it's like when I didn't have shit going on, right? When I was just doing shows and I would come back from the late show, I would watch it was great because it was like I catch every West Coast, at least the second half of all the late games, and then when I didn't have shows, I could watch a couple games. It was fucking sick. And since I've been busy, the NBA is hard as shit to follow when you have shit to do. There's no set schedule. There's no like, even the like what used to be the Thursdays were awesome. They're like moving that shit around to like, I guess they're ducking the Thursday Night Football. And even like the shit used to be like, and even TNT where you would watch for the crew, like those guys are taking more, days off. And it's just one thing that's been harder for me since I stopped doing the show is like just being able to stay in the loop. And it really feels like I always thought this, but it really feels like there's too many fucking games. And that like, I don't know, like even the injury, how many star players have been getting injured in the playoffs now? It's like, I don't know, man. To me, looking at it as someone who actually who's become busy, and I'm not just a fucking comedian that's fucking around half the time, it's hard to be a diehard and watch the games. And you kind of see why, more people follow it a lot through clips and podcasts and all that kind of shit. But like from a player's perspective, like, I don't know, 82 games is fun. Like I told a friend of mine, I was watching a basketball game and he was visiting and he doesn't like sports at all. And then I was the same day, it was like I was watching the Knicks and they were playing on a back-to-back. And he was like, wait, you're watching? He was like, I thought you watched the Knicks yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, they're playing tonight too. He's like, they play games the next day? Like to him, he was like just a guy who like knows football and soccer. He's like, he couldn't even fathom it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's insanely fucked up. That you have to play a fucking professional sports game the next day. It's not fucking baseball. You're just standing there half the time. You're actually like, that's a sport you can do double headers. But yeah, I don't know, man. What is it like? How do you feel about like the 82 game grind? I mean, what's it, what does that feel like? And then. I
mean, first of all, no NBA player is going to say they want it to be shorter.
Of course, because the money thing.
Yeah, and you're cutting into our check, and it's like, we're not trying to lose our money.
Look at those earrings.
Anyway.
Yeah, dude.
But I will say the back-to-backs are tough, especially the ones where you're, like, going from city to city. Like, there's been times where, like, I remember vividly, we played in New York. This is my third year. We played in New York in the Garden, and then the next day we played in Indiana. We had a plane problem in New York. We didn't get to Indiana till 6 a.m. And we had to play on ESPN at 7 p.m.
Oh, my fucking God, dude.
And that was the most delirious I've ever been during a game.
Yeah.
And we're playing against the Pacers who run 1,000,000 miles per hour. Yeah. And so it's like, times like that, you're like, all right, I got to find a way.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I love basketball. So, like, I'm able to play. But also, too, you just know, like, the toll it takes on your body. You have to do everything possible to try to, like, mitigate all that stuff, like all the prevention stuff. Like I'm drinking tart cherry juices on the plane. I got the leg sleeves on.
Yeah.
Like just doing preventative.
Going Bomani mode.
preventative stuff.
So. You know how it feels. Huh? All right. Yeah. All right. More back-to-backs for you young motherfuckers. Teach y'all some lessons. You know what I'm saying? Put y'all in touch with what this life is. Hell yeah. My back hurt right now.
Where do you think this all is? The league is now.
You said where it is?
Yeah, what's your feeling on the state of the league?
I mean, I think the league has more good players than it has ever had.
For sure, yeah.
The players are a little less interesting, overwhelmingly, than they've ever been, but I don't blame them overwhelmingly. You get molded into being a professional from the time that you're 11, 12 years old. You don't get a chance to, like there's a level of individual personality that basketball used to have before it was coached so heavily and so trainer heavy early, right? Like I was thinking about this.
You mean playing style-wise?
So take, for example, Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving is kind of the last of a dying breed in the fact that he has a really real visual personality to his game. His uncle's Rod Strickland. Now, you go walk it back and go watch a clip of Rod Strickland play. Nobody looks like that. That's a game that's developed playing outside. That's a game that's developed playing on your own, right? You're not going to get that playing with Buddy that's got the tackling dummy in front of you and the pad and everything. Like, you're becoming a player. I'm not saying I don't see the value of it, but there's like an individual type of wiggle that's kind of been lost in it that is disappointing to me. I am a person who believes that I don't blame people for shooting all the three-pointers. But it's a problem that can't be fixed, but there's a problem in the sense that the three-pointer got too easy. And since it got so easy, people shoot so many of them. You have to find a way to make it harder. The only way to make it harder is to move the line back. You can't really move the line back because the court's too small. You need to widen that out a little bit. They're never going to do that for a number of reasons. But I think these playoffs have been so interesting because they're more physical, and that gives more of a feeling of an emotion to the game. Like, it feels like it's not I've never bought the guys don't care about the game. That's ridiculous. They play too many of them. They're far too invested in it. but it feels more visceral when dudes are elbowing each other and they're banging around in the post and all those things. That is the direction I would like to see the game aesthetically go to a little more. I'd like to see guys that feel more comfortable just giving us a little more. I think the player podcasts help with that. Like Jayson Tatum is crazy boring, except I saw him, I think it was on Teague's show where he was on there, and I thought it was an entirely different human being.
That guy's so fucking, Jeff Teague's so fucking funny.
All those guys.
That whole podcast
3 guys.
Yeah, whenever you go on there, you just feel a lot more relaxed.
Yeah, like y'all don't trust us. I get it. I don't blame you. You know?
But like B. Hen, he's like,
oh my God, I can't believe he exists in real life.
Bro, he's hilarious.
Yes.
And he is exactly how he is on the pod, how he is in real life. There's no like changing it. Like there was one time he was like right before the pod, like the pod's starting, and he's like pouring lemonade into his cup, like while the cameras are rolling. And it's just like, that's Unc. Like he's like an actual like, you know, you're comfortable around him and stuff. So guys just like, you know, relax a little bit.
They have an incredible dynamic. That's incredible
insane.
Show.
But I think the league is good. Also, it's time. I've been waiting on this. It's the young dudes. It's their time to take over. It's time to get like dudes are not supposed to play basketball that long. And we're not supposed to still be talking about the same people. It's time for this next set of cats to come up here, and that I am enjoying. Is that finally we can get these cats. I sound like a hater when I say this, but like I'm ready for them all to go. Like LeBron, it is amazing that you can do this.
Damn, you turning on your people, man.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. When LeBron's retired, you are officially done.
So they're not even really my people, right? No. I'm rooting for you and your other, people. We in this together.
Young whippersnappers.
That's right. That's right. Youngins, as they call it.
No, I find for me, it's like I remember, like I did grow up with, like, LeBron. I remember being in middle school and like hearing about a kid in Ohio who was going to be the next, and I remember his entire
middle school. Huh?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. And I look like shit. That's how old you are.
I was like,
he was covering it.
I thought you was on my side. You know what I'm saying? I thought I had you.
I've just lived a very unhealthy life, Bomani. I've lived a very indulgent 36 years. But like for me, it's the opposite now, where it's like when LeBron is like retired, it's like, okay, the last pieces of my youth are gone. Like that's why I find myself rooting. Like, and I did always like LeBron, but even now I'm like the old Warriors. I'm like I always sided with LeBron on the the Cavs Warriors stuff. But even now I'm like now I want Curry to stick around because like I remember like the year I moved to New York was the year they made their first run and like I remember watching them beat the Grizzlies on my shitty TV in Baltimore when I was packing my shit up to move to like I have memories from my youth with this generation of players, and like watching your generation is cool because there's so many.
So you love the Olympics then, huh?
The Olympics were fun. They really was a run for the old guys. It was
that close. That's the first time I've ever seen this country root for that basketball team for real. Like the dream team doesn't count. Right, yeah. But it was just like this was really fitting. It was very nice.
It was cool, and it was like not only was it fitting, but it was also this sort of like it was almost like a Marvel, like there was like an end of credit scene where you're like, oh wow, France is really coming. You know what I mean? It was like Wemby's first, like you had baby Wemby, but it's like the next time this shit's gonna be fucking tough.
Yeah,
so it was a great Olympics for so many reasons. I was rooting for once Greece got eliminated, I hopped on. Obviously, Giannis is my guy, but still from a generational rooting for the guys thing, it was incredible. It was so sick.
I was watching ESPN today, and Perk was up there saying that Ant can't be the face of the league because all the faces of the league have kids and are married.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
That sucks.
Okay,
and fucking rules.
I'm going to just throw this out there. Obviously, specifically, Perk was wrong. I understood, and this I feel happens with Perk from time to time. I understood what he meant, right? And I don't think he's right about that either. But I think the point that he was making is that to be the face of the league, there's a certain wholesomeness that we assume of you. But where I disagree with him on that is we keep acting like, and this is a result of Jordan. And so when Jordan was leaving the first time, and they're like, hey, who's going to be the next Michael Jordan? And they immediately went to Grant Hill, and the reason was the family friendliness, right? Like they were trying to put, like, Jordan checked all these boxes, so to be the face of the league, you need somebody else who checks all these boxes. My argument is that the face of the league is not chosen in some meeting. There's no conclave. It emerges. Because Allen Iverson was the face of the league.
Without question.
Right. It wasn't about whether the league wanted it to be that way.
Yeah.
This is just what happened. He's that guy, right? If Anthony Edwards is going to be the face of the league, it's going to be because he's the face of the league. It just happens. Like Shai, it ain't going to happen for that guy for whatever reason. They can win the championship this year, whatever.
Too polite.
Right. I think the face of the league is going to be Victor. Because you just got to be amazing, man. Like, if you're amazing,
do you think they have to be American?
And say, I don't.
I think
not necessarily. They want it to be probably, but like not necessarily.
Because I do think, but there probably will be there will be some foreign play. Like, maybe it's Victor. I also think Luka in LA, if he's locked in, could absolutely become the guy for a span. Like, Victor's unbelievable. But I do think you will always have to have one like American player in the forefront. And I do think, Ant is, depending on how, obviously looks like they're gonna lose this series, it seems like, but they were great. I gotta shout out Tim Connolly from Baltimore. I mean, talk about a guy who just like everyone was wrong about every move he made. Like the fact that he's got, and including me, like I didn't. The Rudy trade, and then having watched Randall, like he's good when he's like I never saw this season coming, and he's just absolutely right. He's an incredible GM,
and has done it twice now.
Yeah, has done it twice where you didn't think like you're like what the fuck, and then it was like oh this man's a fucking. And then plus what he did in Denver to just build the team that ended up winning. But yeah, I mean Ant is so fucking cool, but you never know.
He's that's.
And he's funny. You know what I mean?
We wanted for him because they don't make him like that no more. They just really, really don't make him like that anymore.
And I like a couple scandals. You know what I mean? Like that shit is fun, dude. Like that.
Do you think? I think we talked about this before, but like, do you feel like this is a conversation that like players even give a fuck about?
No.
No way.
Yeah. This is
for dorks to debate.
This is my thing too. It feels like it's like a conversation that is like a time filler on ESPN. But it's such a
thing to talk about when you love the league. It's, of course they don't give a fuck. They're playing the game.
Does it matter for like, with all due respect, the highest echelon of player, right? The guys who want to, like, it seems to matter to Jayson Tatum, for example. Right? Does it matter to the guys that feel like it's an attainable place for them to, or do they, or let's put it this way, if we didn't call it face of the league and just called it being the best player in the league, right? Or like being that dude.
But that's a different,
does it matter?
But isn't that just winning?
Right, but I think those two things are so like locked in and together. Like, I don't care what Jokic says. Jokic cares about being better than everybody else. You don't get to where this is without caring about it. How you quantify it, may not care. But you're not going to tell me he doesn't care. Embiid clearly cared about that stuff, for example, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably that's a good point. Maybe it's person to person, but I think you probably want to be the best, but you don't necessarily care about the PR version of it, right?
Yeah, and I guess to me, the face of the league, I don't look at it as the NBA's chosen face of the league. I see it as like when we think about this league, we think about you.
Gotcha.
Like you are the guy. Right? Baltimore example, Marlo Stanfield, the crown.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
You want that crown.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at that, we got the Magic Michael poster that's over there, right there. Both of those guys at different points, you were the league,
Yeah.
And there's something to that. Yeah. It's hard to think it wouldn't be.
What do you think you would fix about this whole ecosystem? You could fix if you were like Silver tomorrow and you could fix one thing.
Fix it so the Knicks win. What do you want you want Indianapolis Thunder, you motherfucker? Just fix it. I don't even care if we win. Let's cheat to win. This is for like David Stern is in heaven looking down and be like, what are you doing? Fix it for the Knicks. Our fucking ratings are fucked if it's Pacers Thunder. That's what I would fix.
It's about to be a decade of the Thunder, by the way.
What were you saying?
Sorry. Like, what would you fix about the? I say.
What would you fix about this whole ecosystem? If you were like, this is a thing that just like, as a consumer of all of this stuff, because you just are a person who pays attention to everything. Like, what do you think the thing that is like, if we got to change one thing, like this is the most important thing to change?
I hate that you preface that on somebody that pays attention to everything because I actually really try to just worry about what I have to do. But if I had to think about something that, the league could change, I would say ref accountability, in all honesty.
Yeah,
if I'm being super honest with you, bro, ref accountability, because we have to sit in those press conferences and get grilled and asked about things that we did on the court. But a 2-minute report comes out and they're like, yeah, no, they messed up. It is what it is. And there's nothing all it is okay, they just won't ref the playoffs. No, I feel like there has to be some sort of ref accountability because at the end of the day, it's a job. If we don't do our jobs, we will not be in the league. So and we have to answer to that. So I feel like they should also somewhat answer to that. So don't fine me for that. I feel like it's very,
I said that in a nice way.
Yeah, I said it in a nice way. Don't fine me for that, but still.
Do refs get sent to the G League? Do you have to go ref G League games?
Don't you think some of this stuff though? This has been a big topic, obviously, in these playoffs with Shay and Jaylen in particular. These guys are so good at selling this shit. Now, I'm not trying to defend the refs, but I'm just being they're incredibly gifted in every way. But they also are incredibly gifted at the.
But I think after you demonstrate yourself to be that dude, you gotta start treating these cats like they that dude. Like some of the stuff that Brunson has done this postseason has been galling. Flat out. You should be ashamed of yourself. Your daddy is right there.
I don't.
You know
think
what
so.
I'm saying? Come on, bruh.
I think he's being, if anything, he's being physically targeted. He doesn't get the whistle enough. Personally, I do think they've weirdly gotten some bad whistles.
I think what's happened is,
but I know what you mean.
Through all this time and all this year, Jalen Brunson been able to hide behind the fact that we got all these jokes for Carl. Right? Everybody can hide behind us telling these jokes about Carl. That's what it was. And then the postseason came. We were like, actually, man, you wildin'. He played awesome, but Brunson also just is whatever. The guy's fucking 6 foot. What the fuck is he gonna do? He is taller than we give him credit for. We act like he's 5'11". He's 6'2" and strong. He was a national player of the year. I had to look it up. I was definitely treating him like he was the new Isaiah Thomas. I was like, wait a minute, he's not that small. Why do I keep doing this?
He's unbelievable, but I don't know. The way the game. I personally don't mind that. People are annoyed at Shai or Brunson. I do think it's I don't know. Part of the superstar shit is getting to the line when you have to and just
Yeah, but they ain't got to do it when they do it. They just be doing it. And it's the extra mile stuff, the grabbing, taking the dude's arm, acting like you hit yourself in the face and all of that. Somebody
crafty.
Yes, exactly. They too young for all of that. You got to get old. But once we realized that Shai's OG was Chris Paul, I had forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's just okay. So
that makes so much sense.
This is just gonna be
that makes so much.
We're
sense.
closing this out because we all got to watch this game. Before we close, though, Stavvy, you're going to close.
Okay.
You got to give advice to some chunky kid, little kid living in Baltimore.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
wants to be a comedian. Wants to be a stand-up comic.
Okay.
They don't know what to do. They think they're pretty funny. What do you tell them in this current climate?
It's really unfortunately, it's like everything else where it's you just have to do it all the time. You just have to work hard. And the temptation of going viral, I would say stay away from it. One thing I've seen is too many comics too young will post a ton of their shit, which I would have done too. Don't get me wrong. When I was 20, I was oh, I'm the funniest guy in the world. If I could post my shit to YouTube, I would. Thank God it didn't exist. You'd see the worst jokes you've ever seen in your life. But perform as much as you can. It's really the best players practice over and over again. You work on your craft. The problem with stand-up is there's no open gyms. You just have to be on stage. There's no practicing stand-up unless you're in front of a crowd. So do it as much as you can. It's going to be 5 years until you're even sort of good. And then even after that, you're shittier than you think you are. And keep at it, and eventually good shit will happen. But just focus on getting better. And, it's a bad choice, though. Don't do it. Go to community college. Become a roofer. Blue-collar jobs are a much better way to do it. Get a union trade. It's crazy, the odds. I'm so lucky that, how shit has gone. But, yeah, don't do it. But if you have to, just do it over and over again, man.
Well said. Fellas.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Appreciate
fun.
you.
Bro.
Neff.
Yeah.